ਪਿਛਲੇ ਦਿਨੀ ਯੂਨਾਈਟਿਡ ਸਿੱਖਸ ਦੇ ਯਤਨਾਂ ਸਦਕਾ ਨਿਊਯਾਰਕ ਦੀ ਮੇਅਰਸ਼ਿਪ ਲਈ ਉਮੀਦਵਾਰ ਐਂਡਰਿਊ ਯਾਂਗ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰਾ ਸਿੱਖ ਕਲਚਰਲ ਸੁਸਾਇਟੀ ਵਿਖੇ ਨਤਮਸਤਕ ਹੋਏ। ਐਂਡਰਿਊ ਯਾਂਗ ਪਹਿਲੇ ਅਜਿਹੇ ਉਮੀਦਵਾਰ ਹਨ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੇ ਸਿੱਖ ਸੰਗਤ ਨੂੰ ਸੰਬੋਧਨ ਕਰਨ ਲਈ ਹਾਜ਼ਰੀ ਭਰੀ। ਐਂਡਰਿਊ ਯਾਂਗ ਨਾਲ ਸੰਗਤ ਦੀ ਜਾਣ ਪਛਾਣ ਕਰਵਾਉਂਦਿਆਂ ਗੁਰਦੇਵ ਸਿੰਘ ਕੰਗ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਐਂਡਰਿਊ ਯਾਂਗ ਏਸ਼ੀਅਨ ਹੋਣ ਦੇ ਨਾਤੇ ਸਿੱਖਾਂ ਵਰਗੇ ਘੱਟ ਗਿਣਤੀ ਭਾਈਚਾਰਿਆਂ ਦੀ ਆਵਾਜ਼ ਬਣਨਗੇ।
ਜੁਗੋ ਜੁਗ ਟਾਲ ਚਬਰ ਤਖਤ ਦੇ ਮਾਲਕ ਧੰਨ ਧੰਨ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਗ੍ਰੰਥ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਦੀ ਨਿੱਘੀ ਗੋਦ ਵਿੱਚ ਬੈਠੀ ਪਰਮ ਸਤਿਕਾਰਯੋਗ ਸਾਧ ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀ, ਆਓ ਦਸਮ ਪਿਤਾ ਦੀ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਹੋਈ ਫਤਿਹ ਦੀ ਸਾਂਝ ਪਾਈਏ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਮੈਂ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਗ੍ਰੰਥ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਦਾ ਕੋਟ ਧੰਨਵਾਦੀ ਹਾਂ, ਜੋ ਕਿ ਪਰਸੋਂ ਤੋਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਅਖੰਡ ਪਾਠ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਰੱਖੇ ਗਏ ਸਨ, ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਿਰੰਤਰ ਭੋਗ ਸਪੂਰਨ ਹੋਏ। ਸਾਧ ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀ, ਅੱਜ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰਾ ਸਿੱਖ ਸੁਸਾਇਟੀ ਵਿਖੇ ਸੰਤ ਪ੍ਰੇਮ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੀ ਮਰਾਲੇ ਵਾਲੇ, ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੀ 71ਵੀਂ ਬਰਸੀ ਬੜੀ ਸ਼ਰਧਾ ਭਾਵਨਾ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਂ 'ਤੇ ਬਣੀ ਹੋਈ ਸੰਸਥਾ ਸੰਤ ਪ੍ਰੇਮ ਸਿੰਘ ਕਲਚਰ ਸੁਸਾਇਟੀ ਅਤੇ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰਾ ਸਿੱਖ ਸੁਸਾਇਟੀ ਸਮੂਹ ਪੰਥਕ ਜਥੇਬੰਦੀਆਂ ਸਭਾਵਾਂ ਦੇ ਸਹਿਯੋਗ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਅਤੇ ਸੰਗਤਾਂ ਦੇ ਸਹਿਯੋਗ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਮਨਾਈ ਜਾ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ। ਮੈਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਸਮੂਹ ਸੰਗਤਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਲੱਖ ਲੱਖ ਵਧਾਈ ਦਿੰਦਾ ਹਾਂ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਇਹੋ ਜਿਹੇ ਮਹਾਨ ਪਿਤਾ ਸੀ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੇ ਪਾਏ ਹੋਏ ਪੂਰਨਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਚੱਲਣ ਦੀ ਜ਼ਰੂਰਤ ਆ, ਜੋ ਕਿ ਅੱਜ ਗਿਆਨੀ ਸ਼ੇਰ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਵੀ ਦਰਸਾਇਆ। ਸੋ ਨਾਓ I don't have enough time, but today, the same time, the 8 years before, when the Mayor Blasio was running for a primary, he came to the Sikh Culture Society. And we discussed with him, within the 8-year period, the Sikh community supported him. And he did some work for the Sikh community, because he gave us the representations in the city hall. He gave us the representation when he amended the policy with this way we are looking, our description, our Sikh youth, they was go to NYPD serving with the turban and the beard. Now at the same time, now the Democrat primary on the June 22nd. And very honorable person, Andrew Yang, he is running for the Democrat primary on June 22nd to become the mayor of the New York City. We are very proud because he belonged to Asian. He belonged to the minority. When we feel someone belongs to us, and we automatically think about him, and we were thinking about him because he belonged to the Asian. The way we make a rally in April, because too much hate crime they're going in the New York City. At the time when we make a Sikh Culture Society and all the Gurdwara Prabandhak committees, we make arrange, stop Asian hate crime, and this we need to our own mayor who represent us in the New York City. So we are very proud he came over here, and couple matters I discussed with him. I explained to him, because same way when the Blasio comes and he was running about the primary and he gave us some promise. Sikh community need our share in the city hall, because we are the big taxpayers. Blasio, again, Honorable Mayor, is dead for us. And now we are expecting the Andrew Yang, when he get elected, he is going to be elected. You know why? Whoever get the God, this is our living Guru, Guru Granth Sahib. When they take the blessing from them, and our Sikh community pay too much respect to the candidate. So now he is a front runner, no matter, because you guys, when he looking for today, your support and your vote. And I only need a promise from Mr. Andrew Yang, make sure we need some of our people who wear the turban, has a beard, and sitting in your office. Because this way we feel we are part of the New York City. And second thing, when you become a mayor, we have an annual parade, 6-day parade, every year in Manhattan, which one in the month of the April, the last week of the April. Almost we are 70 to 80,000 people. Our community who gave our Khalsa birth, we are the Sikh born. and the Sikh Day parade, and I make sure he promised he coming to attend every year around the parade. So Mr. Andrew Jang, he's very hardworking and honest person, because I involved in the political system, and I know. And when the guy come with their own experience, we need too much to done for the New York City. Lot of companies, lot of good people, they're moving out from the New York City because they are not safe. Now we have to be stopped. We have to make the laws, make sure to stop the hate crime, and we feel safe in New York City. And I like to be Mr. Andrew Young, please come to the podium and ask your vote and support, and the community will do that, they give you vote and support.
ਐਂਡਰਿਊ ਯਾਂਗ ਨੇ ਸਿੱਖਾਂ ਦੀ ਸਿਆਸੀ ਚੇਤਨਾ ਤੋਂ ਪ੍ਰਭਾਵਿਤ ਹੁੰਦਿਆਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਗੱਲ ਦੇਰੀ ਨਾਲ ਸਮਝ ਆਈ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਘੱਟ ਗਿਣਤੀਆਂ ਦਾ ਸਿਆਸਤ ਵਿੱਚ ਭਾਗ ਲੈਣਾ ਕਿੰਨਾ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਹੈ, ਪਰ ਅਮਰੀਕੀ ਸਿੱਖ ਇਸ ਮਸਲੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਹੀ ਚੇਤੰਨ ਹਨ।
Thank you so much. It's a privilege to be here to address you all. I grew up with Sikh classmates. I had a Sikh friend, Prabdeep Singh, and I did not understand his faith, his community as well yesterday as I do today. I have to say, spending time with you all, it's uplifting. And your food is one of the best kept secrets in New York. After people discover how delicious your food is, it's going to be, your temples are going to be overrun with people who want to enjoy the same kind of meal that I did. I feel an affinity with your community in part because I'm also the son of immigrants, as either you are, in many cases your children are. My parents came to this country for a better life for me and my brother. And when I grew up here in New York, we didn't talk that much about politics. The message that my brother and I got was to get good grades and try and get a good job. But at some point, you all started to understand that you will never get what you deserve as part of New York City without a degree of political power and engagement. It's one reason why I want to applaud and congratulate Japneet Singh for running for city council from your community. He represents the best of the next generation, is exactly the sort of person that we need in city leadership. I'm running for mayor because I think things need to fundamentally change. And when I talk to your leaders about the hate crimes that your community has experienced over the last number of years, unfortunately it's something that many Asian Americans can relate to, particularly in the recent past. The last number of days I have comforted victims and families of victims who've been beaten on the streets of New York, shoved onto subway tracks, attacked with a hammer. These things are happening right now in New York City, and they're happening in part because some people feel like some of us don't belong here, that we're not as New York or not as American as others. And I think having the first Asian American mayor in the history of New York City will send a very, very powerful message that we all belong here, that we're all New Yorkers, we're all Americans, and our families have a right to a better life just like everyone else. But my goal is not just to deliver that message and to deliver the safety and security that our families deserve. It's also to make sure that communities that have been neglected and overlooked for far too long actually get what we deserve. And when I talk to Asian American communities, you all may know this, you all know I like numbers, I don't know if you like that about me, but Asian Americans are 15% of the New York City population. Our community organizations receive only 1.5% of the city budget dedicated to those organizations, which I don't think is right. There are many communities around the city that have been left on the outside looking in, including the Sikh community, the Asian American community, and other communities, and that is what we need to change. This is a once-in-a-generation opportunity for us to wrest control of the city government from the insiders that have been playing their inside games for years and years, and we must seize this chance. I don't think you are asking enough of this mayor and the next mayor. It is not enough for them to show up, for us to show up to your events. It is for us to deliver a better way of life for you, your families, your communities, in a way that you can touch and feel every single day. There is far too much unnecessary poverty and material deprivation in our communities, and you all are fighting it every day. You're people of faith. You are trying to feed and help the least among you. I'm so proud of you all for helping vaccinate people in all 5 boroughs, and I'm someone who thinks that people being vaccinated is a very, very excellent thing for New York, and that we should pursue that. But the values that animate your community, what New York City needs more of at the highest levels, and that is my goal. I'm running for mayor to be the anti-poverty mayor, to address the needs that have gone unaddressed in our communities for far too long, and I would love your support in making this happen. I pledge to you all that I will become a familiar figure to your community, but more that you will actually see and feel the impact of my administration right here in your communities, even when I am someplace else. Thank you all so much. Thank you all for this opportunity, and so glad to be able to get to know you and your community a little bit better. Thank you all so much.
ਸਿਟੀ ਕਾਉਂਸਲ ਦੀਆਂ ਚੋਣਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਹਿੱਸਾ ਲੈ ਰਹੇ ਸਿੱਖ ਨੌਜਵਾਨ ਜਪਨੀਤ ਸਿੰਘ ਨੇ ਆਪਣਾ ਸਿਆਸੀ ਦ੍ਰਿਸ਼ਟੀਕੋਣ ਸਾਂਝਾ ਕਰਦਿਆਂ ਸਿੱਖ ਭਾਈਚਾਰੇ ਤੋਂ ਹਮਾਇਤ ਮੰਗੀ।
आओ गुरु दी प्यारी साध संगत जी मिल के गज के बुलाइए वाहेगुरु जी का खालसा वाहेगुरु जी की फतेह। First and foremost, I want to thank Mr. Andrew Yang for coming into our community and being the first mayoral candidate to address our Sikh congregation, both at Baba Makusha Labana Sikh Center and now Sikh Cultural Society, the 2 oldest and most renowned Sikh establishments across the United States. So thank you so much, my brother. That means a lot because ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ politics ਸਾਰੇ ਨੰਬਰਾਂ ਦੀ ਗੇਮਾਂ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ। Mayor de Blasio only got 2% of the entire vote to win for New York City mayor. This election is one of the most important elections of our lifetime because whoever wins this mayoral race is going to be the mayor for the next 8 years, most likely. Not only are we going to have a new mayor, we're going to have a new controller. We're going to have 37 brand new city council members. We can elect the first Sikh American city council member here in the city of New York if we win this district right here at home that we call mini Punjab, that we called home for so many decades. And right now, one of the biggest things that's plaguing our community that I also mentioned before is the farmers' protest. Whatever mayor that we have, whatever city council that we have, we want a resolution passed in City Hall that declares that what's going on in India is a human rights violation. And there needs to be justice for our farmers back home in India, not only on a citywide level, but on a state level. And we want a resolution passed, which is a big, big thing for all our communities because we all come from India. We all come from Punjab, Haryana, whatever part of India that we come from. And it's sad to see so many people losing their livelihoods, losing their lives only because of a stubborn government. And that's what we want to make sure that we don't have here. For too long, our Sikh community has been overlooked. The Asian community has been overlooked. At the end of the day, ਜਦੋਂ ਵੀ ਆਪਾਂ DMV ਤੇ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ ਜਾਂ if we fill out any kind of scantron, we're all Asian. We're all Asian. We're all Asian/Pacific Islanders. And it's time that we unite as communities and take back our city and our community so we can hold our government accountable. So thank you so much, Mr. Andrew Yang. And I want to send a message to everybody that lives here in Richmond Hill, South Ozone Park, South Jamaica. We are only 3 weeks away. ਜਦੋਂ ਮੈਂ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕੀਤੀ ਸੀ ਇਹ ਕੈਂਪੇਨ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਬਲੇਸਿੰਗਸ ਨਾਲ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਸਪੋਰਟ ਨਾਲ ਕੰਗ ਅੰਕਲ and Bopara uncle was very gracious to let me start my campaign right here. ਇੱਥੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕੀਤੀ ਸੀ and now we're only 3 weeks away from making history. Making history and I'm going to need your support. ਅਸੀਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਸੰਗਤ ਇੱਥੇ ਇਕੱਠੇ ਹੋਏ ਹਾਂ but right now we need manpower. ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣਾ ਕੀਮਤੀ ਟਾਈਮ ਕੱਢ ਕੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ 1 ਘੰਟਾ ਵੀ ਦੇ ਦਿਓ ਨਾ we will not lose this election. So that's one thing. We only have 3 weeks, 21 days left. And the 3 ਤਰੀਕੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਨੇ ਵੋਟ ਪਾਉਣ ਲਈ। ਇੱਕ ਤੇ absentee ballot ਹੈ। If you don't feel comfortable going to the polls, ਅਸੀਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਵੋਟ ਘਰ ਹੀ ਮੰਗਾ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ। That you have until June 15th to do that. If you want an early vote, that's from June 12th to the 20th. And then primary day is June 22nd. So please, I need your help. We all need your help because this is not for me, this is not for him, this is for the community. And together we are stronger. So thank you guys so much. ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ।
ਐਂਡਰਿਊ ਯਾਂਗ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰਾ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਵਿਖੇ ਹਾਜ਼ਰੀ ਲਵਾਉਣ ਲਈ ਯੂਨਾਈਟਿਡ ਸਿੱਖਸ ਦੀ ਪ੍ਰੇਰਣਾ ਸਦਕਾ ਪਹੁੰਚੇ ਸਨ ਅਤੇ ਅਜਿਹਾ ਕਰਨ ਵਾਲੇ ਉਹ ਮੇਅਰ ਦੀ ਚੋਣ ਲੜਨ ਵਾਲੇ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲੇ ਉਮੀਦਵਾਰ ਹਨ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੇ ਸੰਗਤ ਨੂੰ ਸੰਬੋਧਨ ਕਰਨ ਲਈ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰਾ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਨੂੰ ਚੁਣਿਆ। ਯੂਨਾਈਟਿਡ ਸਿੱਖਸ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਇਸ ਮੌਕੇ ਕੋਵਿਡ ਵੈਕਸੀਨੇਸ਼ਨ ਕੈਂਪ ਵੀ ਲਗਾਇਆ ਗਿਆ ਜਿਸ ਵਿੱਚ ਐਂਡਰਿਊ ਯਾਂਗ ਵਿਸ਼ੇਸ਼ ਤੌਰ ਤੇ ਪਹੁੰਚੇ। ਇਸ ਦੌਰਾਨ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਯੂਨਾਈਟਿਡ ਸਿੱਖਸ ਦੇ ਡਾਇਰੈਕਟਰ ਜਤਿੰਦਰ ਸਿੰਘ ਨਾਲ ਵਿਚਾਰ ਵਟਾਂਦਰਾ ਕਰਦਿਆਂ ਸਿੱਖਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਤਾਲੁਕਾਤ ਰੱਖਦੇ ਸਵਾਲਾਂ ਦੇ ਜਵਾਬ ਦਿੱਤੇ।
Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Today I'm here with Mayor candidate Andrew Yang. Welcome to Gurdwara and our camp here, right here for United Sikhs, vaccination second vaccination camp. Sikh community welcomes you first of all and congratulates you, give you all the best wishes in your campaign. They do have some concerns and questions being a candidate. First of all, they would like to know what do you know about Sikh community?
Well, first, congratulations on this vaccination drive. Vaccinating people is going to save lives. And this actually is much of what the Sikh community is all about, which is helping people, fellowship, taking care of the neediest among us. So it's been a joy visiting this temple and another temple earlier today. I also love just seeing the Asian families running around. It feels very familiar to me because I'm the son of immigrants myself, and I went to environments like this a lot as a kid.
Hey, that's awesome. That is awesome. Now, if you are, elected as a candidate, what would you do for the Sikh community?
My big message and principle is fairness, where the Sikh community is unfortunately not getting the same level of resources that other communities are for community centers, health, education, but also not enough resources to protect people against ignorance and hate crimes.
Hate crimes, that's been
and as an Asian American, we're seeing this surge in hate crimes that are affecting people on the streets, on the subways. It's truly awful. So we're going to do everything we can to reverse this. And one of the pillars that I was just asked about, which I love, is trying to educate people about the Sikh community specifically, because we all know that a lot of people are ignorant. Yes, they see someone in a turban and they don't actually identify you as a Sikh. And I believe that this is one of the spurs to some of the violence that unfortunately has been perpetrated on members of the Sikh community.
Yeah, so true. I mean, we'd condemn all the violence against the Asian community right now. But just so you know, Sikh community has been suffering hate crime since September 11th.
Yes,
and it hasn't stopped. That's the only community across USA that it still continues. There was one incident in California like a couple of days ago. There's I think 3 weeks ago there was one in Brooklyn. One Sikh guy was going to the work in a hotel. Somebody came from behind and put
That's so
him
awful.
with a hammer. I mean, this is New York City right here we're talking about. So we can relate to what's happening and we all condemn it, and hopefully you'll do some great action to stop all of that. I guess education, one of the youth asked a question.
Yeah, I mean, the single biggest thing we have to deliver to people is safety and security. And unfortunately, New Yorkers of many different communities are very concerned. We have to make sure that people feel safe on our own streets, taking our kids to school. And this is going to be my top priority as mayor. And that's true for the Sikh community, the Asian community, the Muslim, the Jewish community. Unfortunately, there are many communities that right now are struggling with this.
There's one question always arises. Every year, end of April, we have a Sikh Day parade. That's been going on for over 35 years in New York City. Every mayor candidate comes when the election time comes. When the parade comes, we have almost 80,000 people there. But mayor never shows up.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
What's your take on that?
Well, I mean, I find that very strange. And so I would love to be the first mayor to show up for this parade, as long as there's food involved, because your food is delicious. I'm thinking about the parade and whether there'll be food involved. Hopefully there will be.
There's langars everywhere.
Langars everywhere. That's what I'm talking about. So yeah, you can definitely count me in.
Yes. That's all. Well, congratulations and the best wishes in your election
Thank
campaign.
you so much. And really, it's such a joy.
You. Yes,
yeah, such a joy visiting with you today.
Yes, thank you so much.
ਸਾਹਿਬਾ ਕੌਰ ਅਤੇ ਜਪਨੀਤ ਸਿੰਘ ਨੇ ਐਂਡਰਿਊ ਯਾਂਗ ਦੇ ਸਹਿਯੋਗੀਆਂ ਵਜੋਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰਾ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਵਿਖੇ ਨਤਮਸਤਕ ਹੋਣ ਦੇ ਮਹੱਤਵ ਦਰਸਾਉਂਦਿਆਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਵਿਚਾਰ ਸਾਂਝੇ ਕੀਤੇ।
Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. It's an honor to be here amongst my Sikh congregation and celebrate Sant Baba Prem Singh's birthday today here and come together as a community. I think it's very important when we do things like this, because not only are we celebrating each other, we're celebrating our values and our ideals. And today we had a very special guest, Mr. Andrew Yang, who's running for mayor right here in our city. and the fact that he was able to see some of the values and our culture and what we're about. That's what we need. We need to continue spreading Sikh awareness, and we need to make sure that people are educated on what we do. Langar is great, but if we keep serving to each other, we're never going to get the message out of what our community is about. So the fact that a mayoral candidate, the first mayoral candidate, came right here to a Sikh Cultural Society and promised a lot of things for our community, it's a huge thing, huge W in my mind for our community. And as a city council candidate myself here in Mini Punjab, District 28, I hope to work with him hand in hand and make sure we address the needs of our Asian community or marginalized communities, so we can make sure the city is fair and equal and just for all communities that live here. Thank you so much. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Yes, my name is Sahiba Kaur. I am Andrew Yang's Queens field organizer. My job is to round up the volunteers and round up the community in Queens to help ignite the support for Andrew. The reason why I wanted Andrew to come here is because the Sikh community is the community I am part of. I truly believe that Andrew can make an impact to all minority and underrepresented communities in New York City, and especially the Sikh community. The Sikh community is a growing population, and the ideals of the core tenets of the Sikh community really represent what New York City is and how to be New York strong and New York City strong. And I think Andrew will really empower the Sikh community and empower us to be involved into the political sphere, to be involved in like mayoral staff, and even, you know, empower us to become mayor of New York City and above and beyond. And I think Andrew Yang is the person to do that and is the person to amplify Sikh voices. So this is why I wanted Andrew Yang to come here and visit the Sikh community and visit the community I am part of and I hold near and dear.